Tonight on Carolina Week, an update on the Silent Sam removal and how students are making their voices heard.
North Carolina public school students are starting to feel the effects of cuts to the arts and music funding.
And farm animals helping you get fit. All that and more, Carolina Week starts right now.
From the UNC School of Media and Journalism, covering Carolina in HD, this is Carolina Week.
A lawsuit against the university could be in the works as an effort to get the Silent Sam statue removed. Good evening, I'm Tiara Marsh.
And I'm Bailey Ingalls. But before we get to that top story, breaking news out of Puerto Rico. Hurricane Maria has left the entire island without power, making a difficult situation even worse for the people in Puerto Rico, as well as Puerto Rican students here at UNC. Reporter Anne-Marie Haggerty spoke to some of these students. She joins us live in the studio.
Bailey, the storm hit the island just this morning, and government officials are calling it a, quote, total devastation. Winds in excess of 115 miles an hour and more than a foot of rainfall. Government officials report extensive damage as well as no power in the entirety of the country. The images out of Puerto Rico are causing much anxiety for UNC students whose homes and families are still on the island.
I got a message from my mom this morning around 7:30 with an audio clip of actually the glass windows in front of our house bowing out with the force of the wind. And since then I haven't heard from her.
Part of my family is from Mayagüez, which is on the western side of the island, and I have other side of the family which lives in Loíza. And I know for a fact that Loíza has an infrastructure that honestly isn't ready to handle a storm of this magnitude. I thought of is how can I help, how can I be there, you know? And that's actually what's on my mind right now. I want to know when I could go back and when I'm going to see my family next.
For good reason.
Yeah.
Cool. Was it? Ojeda also mentioned that while Hurricanes Harvey and Irma hitting the U.S. got a lot of attention, there are 3.4 million Americans living in Puerto Rico who are often overlooked, and they need your help now more than ever. Bailey, back to you.
That was reporter Anne-Marie Haggerty live from the studio.
The debate continues over the future of Silent Sam. UNC students and a professor are now threatening litigation in order to remove the statue. Reporter Donnie Holloway, who is live on North Campus with the latest details. Donnie?
That's right, Tiara. Much controversy continues to surround Silent Sam, a Confederate monument on UNC's campus. A lot of talk about this statue and what it represents. And now 12 students, a law professor, and the UNC Black Law Students Association are threatening litigation. The group, working with a New York-based law firm, say that the statue violates federal anti-discrimination laws. In this 3-page letter written to UNC Chancellor Carol Folt, UNC President Margaret Spellings, the Board of Governors, the Board of Trustees, and the General Administration, the group says that the statue should be immediately removed and that it is incompatible with the inclusive and welcoming environment promised in UNC's non-discrimination policy. I spoke to one of the co-signers of that document, and he shared with me that he hopes that the statue will be removed and that he doesn't plan to pursue litigation, but hopes that the university will take seriously the concerns expressed. I'll continue to follow this story, and we'll have an update on Carolina Now on Friday with the very latest. No word yet if the university will remove the monument. Tiara?
Donnie Holloway reporting live from the Silent Sam statue on North Campus.
Some UNC students are taking a different approach to try to bring down the Silent Sam statue. Campus activists headed by a group called Silent Sam Sit-In are boycotting university businesses for a month. Organizers says the goal isn't to make the university lose millions, but to use the influence of these businesses to put pressure on the university to remove the statue.
Their businesses are influential to the university as a whole. And so in order for the university to hear us, if not by our presence at the statue, we have to use other means of getting attention.
Nearly 300 students have signed the petition to boycott university businesses. The petition list includes Bottom of Lenore, Blue Cafe, Rams Market, and the Pit Stop as places to avoid. Thousands of first-year students made their way to campus last month. For many, it's their first time living away from home. But as reporter Alyssa Tu explains, letting students know where to get help on campus when they're sick is an annual challenge for Student Health Services.
When students think about campus life, what might not come to mind is perhaps one of the most important resources at UNC.
Campus Health Services is really an integrated college health center. We're integrated in the sense that we provide both medical as well as counseling and psychological services.
Pittman says sometimes new students don't realize just how many services are available.
So a full range of primary care services, women's health, sports medicine and physical therapy services. We have full radiology, laboratory, and pharmaceutical services, and provide, of course, comprehensive counseling and psychological services, including psychiatry services.
Students don't need to make an appointment, but should bring their IDs and health insurance information when they visit.
Students that have an appointment are seen by either a physician, a nurse practitioner, or a physician assistant if they're here for medical services. If they walk in for services, they will often be triaged by a registered nurse.
Campus health resources are available 24/7, including holidays, and scheduling can be done by calling them directly, using the Campus Health portal, or their newest option, scheduling online. This feature allows students the option to choose their own provider, as well as a time that best fits their schedule. Reporting for Carolina Week, I'm Elissa Tew.
Campus Health Services is paid for with student fees. About $190 per semester goes to the services offered there.
Teachers and parents in our state have complained for years about poor funding for music programs in schools, and now a new House bill is reducing those funds even more. Reporter Samantha Schneider spoke with one UNC alum who's witnessing the effects in his own classroom.
This is Brian Holzhauser. He was a UNC student just 1 year ago. Now, he's the band, chorus, and general music teacher at Webb High School.
I knew going into college that I wanted to do music, and I thought education was a solid path for that.
Holzhauser says teaching kids is easy, but the lack of funding makes running the program difficult. Over a month into the school year, and Holzhauser says he still hasn't received an approved budget. This budget is supposed to pay for instrument repairs and sheet music.
Most of the funding for this program comes from the boosters, which is still really small.
But it's not just the high schools. A recent bill to reduce class sizes is decreasing state funding for elementary arts classes as well. According to House Bill 13, grades K through 3 will go from 24 students to about 20. Many arts classrooms are becoming regular classrooms. If their programs aren't cut, the music teachers will simply push carts to come to the classroom.
But I definitely know in this county, there's only a couple elementary schools with music teachers.
Parker Camella knows this all too well. He's a student here at UNC, but is also a student music teacher at Morse Grove Elementary. He thinks, with time, we can reestablish the arts in all schools.
It'll take a lot of hard work on the part of people that enjoy the arts and know the value of the arts.
And Holzhauser says he can be that advocate.
I mean, what are we doing it for if we can't keep the arts programs running?
In North Carolina reporting, I'm Samantha Schneider.
House Bill 13 went into effect this school year. Those in favor of the bill have argued the smaller class sizes will make it easier for their children to get more personalized attention. Coming up on Carolina Week, fantasy sports. Are they games of skill or chance? That answer could determine whether they're legal to play.
I see you mobbing over her. Let's go. Let's mob. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Hey yo, we mobbing. Come on, girl. Let's crawl. Hey yo, let's crawl. Hey yo, let's crawl. Hey, let's crawl. Hey yo, let's crawl.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate, and it's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
If If you're a fan of watching football, odds are you may also be in a fantasy football league. Daily fantasy sports is an estimated $3.2 billion industry. But what do North Carolinians think about the games? Our Evan Cronus has the story.
UNC junior Justin McMahon lives a double life. During the day, he's your typical student, but once he gets home, he takes over his role as CEO of Daily Fantasy Insider, a website that provides daily fantasy sports players with advice on who they should pick on a given night.
We felt like some of the other fantasy sports advice sites out there, they just weren't quite doing everything the way that we would do it.
McMahon has won more than $300,000, including 2 $100,000 jackpots, while playing Daily Fantasy Sports, or DFS. Because of his earnings, he lost his full ride to UNC as a Covenant Scholar.
Making a lot of money in college turns out to not be as useful as you might think.
According to ESPN, Daily Fantasy Sports are illegal in 5 states and not approved in 9, all over whether it's considered gambling. Tim Crothers is a former Sports Illustrated writer who sees the parallels between gambling and DFS.
Daily fantasy, to me, gets you into a position where it feels like you're more of an addict. You're like, you're getting your action day after day after day.
Back in May, a North Carolina House committee rejected House Bill 279, which would have regulated DFS in the state. The rejected bill states that the fantasy contests do not constitute gambling, lottery, or gaming. McMahon was asked to testify for House Bill 279 in front of the state legislature. His argument was simple.
It's a skill-based game, and with so many other things like the lottery not being skill-based games, it seems like the real issue that the states have is they just want money from it.
While DFS remains unregulated in the state for the time being, McMahon is staying optimistic about his company's future. In Chapel Hill, Evan Cronus reporting.
McMahon says he thinks state legislators will eventually make fantasy sports legal. There just needs to be more regulations.
When you play fantasy sports, you hope your players will stay healthy. And that's also the priority for UNC Athletics Department. As reporter Jarrett Corder shows us, one of their biggest concerns is concussion prevention.
Tyler Royal is a former UNC football player who had his career ended early due to concussions.
I'll never forget it. It was on about the right hash of the 10 to 15 yard line. As the play started, I got lateral. As I approached him, I lunged at him, exposing my head, causing it to be the last play of my career.
That tackle brought him through these doors at the UNC Concussion Center, where athletes start the process. The first thing an athlete must do is take a baseline test. It starts with a computer portion that measures your abilities and reactions before your concussion. Then you take a balance test, and there's 3 main rules. Take your shoes off, have your hands on your hips, and keep your eyes closed. The first part of the test is on a firm surface like a floor, and you hold your balance in 3 positions for 20 seconds. Both feet on the ground, 1 foot in the air, and 1 foot in front of the other. Piece of cake. Then things get a little more difficult. You have to stand on a foam surface and take the same test. I fell a total of 5 times, but that's normal. More than 10 errors is usually a cause for concern. Royal uses the help he received from the center to help other athletes.
I had that personal aspect of feeling the concussions and understanding what the effects are. Being able to reach out to these high school players and have the connection of me playing here is a tool for us to be able to use to modify the way that these high school players play and change it to a safer behavior.
In Chapel Hill, I'm Jarrett Corder reporting.
Test results may vary by athlete, but these tests provide a good baseline for each individual.
Construction around campus has left many teams and clubs without practice space this school year. The displacement has reached as far as the band, but hasn't stopped them from performing at an elite level. The Marching Tar Heels are known as the pride of the ACC. Like many others around campus, they have been pushed out of their normal practice space in Kenan Stadium. The group has been practicing on multiple locations such as the Ehringhaus Field, the Kenan Music Building, Hill Hall, and the Eddie Smith Fieldhouse. Despite the difficult situation, they have been entertaining fans at the same level they are used to. If you visited student stores recently, you probably noticed some big changes. The pit stop has moved to the ground floor where you can now find a full makeup counter. And on the second floor, you'll now find a new and improved cafe area that includes seating space. But one of the most popular changes is the new study space on the top floor that has a prime view of the pit.
Changes have also been made to UNC's P2P. The bus system turns 25 this year, and it got some upgrades for its birthday. The P2P added 2 new 25-passenger shuttles and 3 40-passenger diesel buses. Both are more fuel efficient than the nearly 20-year-old models they replaced. The bus system, which transports thousands of students every night, also added several new stops to its routes, including Beatty Hill Housing Complex and Granville Towers.
The website Inside Hazing says 59% of all college students admit to being hazed. 40% admit to knowing about hazing on campus. Reporter Alexis Bell introduces us to a group of UNC students who hope to cut that number way down.
These hands don't haze. In the pit, the Lambda Psi chapter of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated set up a poster and handed out lollipops. The members encouraged students to trace their hand and pledge against hazing.
It's very important, especially to be, as a Greek organization, to be out here talking and leading this discussion on this campus.
Chapter President Keyshawn Sloan says hazing is hyper-visible in Black Greek letter organizations.
I know a lot of times, especially the MPHC, we get kind of targeted as being hazing, like, you know, we do a lot of hazing, and I want to bring awareness that that's not the case, that sometimes these myths can supersede who we actually are as organizations.
Hazing is any action. The Kappa Omicron chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated wrote down students' thoughts on hazing and addressed those myths, facts, and stereotypes. This student-led teaching focused on the effects of hazing in an effort to discourage it.
A lot of times we go based off of rumors and myths, and we never take the time to really delve into the issue and figure out how we are being complacent and how we have a role to change the current system of hazing.
Director of Fraternity and Sorority Life, Aaron Bockenheimer, came to the event and stressed the importance of these types of conversations.
Nothing I say or do is as powerful as a peer talking to a peer about why this is an important issue and why we shouldn't have hazing as a component of our organizational development and new member development processes. It's just a powerful social experience.
Pugh says she hopes events like these eliminate hazing, especially on college campuses. In Chapel Hill, I'm Alexis Bell, Carolina Week.
Organizations will continue to push the anti-hazing message throughout the week. Leaves are falling around campus, but will the temperatures?
Meteorologist Alex Komet has the 5-day forecast up next.
Connor is struggling in school.
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
Why don't you understand me?
I do. This is what it feels like for kids with learning and attention issues. Redirecting to understood.org.
It's me, Artie. Come see what I collected from the Creative Galaxy in my idea box.
Transform your world.
Will you help me make art?
Each one of our journeys keeps us. Before you throw it away,
Hey, I have an idea.
think outside the box.
We'll never get older. Each one Go be amazing!
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
Hey, did you know that 2.4 million loving cats and dogs in shelters and rescues need our help to find a home? Go to theshelterpetproject.org and search your local shelters and rescues. Go for a cuddle with your next best friend. Adopt.
Hey, thank you for staying with us. Good evening. I'm your meteorologist, Alex Komet, with your Carolina Week weather. A couple things I want to talk about is the seasonably warm weather that we're experiencing right now, and because of that, we are also staying dry for the time being. And then tropical triple trouble. We have Hurricane Maria advancing up, but still not expected to bring us that much rain. If you look at our expected rainfall right now, you can see that this is Maria coming up, but as far as North Carolina is concerned, our area is not expected to get that much rain. However, the coastal regions are going to get around a half an inch or more. We're expected to get much less. You take a look at the surface map, you can see what's going on right now. High pressure is still firmly in control over the area, which is what's bringing us our nice weather right now. There are a few pop-up showers that could happen over the area, but behind that, there's another high that will take its place later on in the week as this advances. The system up here off the coast, this is what's left of Jose, as it's still meandering off of the New England coast right now. There are a few tropical storm warnings for the Massachusetts coast right now, but as far as Jose is concerned, we don't have anything left to worry about with that. Maria currently dead downgrade as it moved over Puerto Rico this morning. The mountains of that island are very high, so it tore it apart a lot, but this storm is still very strong and expected to re-strengthen as it moves by. The expected track right now, it's on the other side of Puerto Rico, and it's expected to be off of the Georgia, South Carolina coast around Sunday at 2 p.m. If we bring it home and take a look at the radar, you can see we do have some showers moving through the area right now to the east and south of Raleigh, down near Dunn. This storm, the cell has weakened quite a bit, but those pop-up showers, as I said, they're definitely not out of the question, but if you see one, you're lucky. Right now, 87 degrees in our area. Sorry, these slides sometimes have a mind of their own. Clear and sunny. Tonight, pretty much the same story. We will drop about 20 degrees. Still mainly clear. A stray thunderstorm or shower is possible, but highly out of the question. And then tomorrow on your way out the door, you see at 8 a.m. we'll be in the high 60s, quickly warming up by lunch, and then still in the mid-80s by the time you go home. For the football forecast this weekend, your pregame, we've got 78 degrees. Your kickoff, 80, and post-game 75, so a beautiful day for football. And then for your 5-day forecast, you can see that we almost flirt with the 90s on Thursday, but high 80s to mid 80s across the week with beautiful weather and lows in the mid to high 60s.
Thanks so much, Alex. The victory bell rings early this year.
UNC and Duke face off in an unseasonably early matchup this weekend. Bragging rights on the line.
I wish I was in school. If only I had a math test today. I'll stay after class. I'll clean the chalkboard. I wish I was in school.
School ends, but free lunches for your kids don't have to. Find your local food bank at feedingamerica.org/summer meals for help.
Welcome back to Carolina Week Sports. I'm Abby Presley. The football team got its first win of the season Saturday, and the Heels will look to carry that momentum into their showdown with arch rival Duke this weekend. Let's break down 3 things to look for in Keenan as UNC looks to reclaim the coveted victory bell. Number 1, Daniel Jones, the best quarterback you probably don't know anything about. So far, he's totaled 113 yards rushing. His speed allows him to move out of the pocket and gain yardage in tight situations. He was Duke's leading rusher against Northwestern. And Carolina will have to be on the lookout against this dual-threat quarterback. But Jones shouldn't be the only concern for Carolina. Duke is coming into Chapel Hill with one of the top rush defenses in the country. In the Blue Devils' past 3 games, opponents have had 37 of their rushing attempts go for no gain or lose yards against a salty Devil D. Looking back to last year, Duke held UNC to 106 rushing yards, its 3rd lowest mark of the season, and that was with Elijah Hood and TJ Logan. This brings us to our final point. Will we have a Jackal or a Hyde rushing offense this weekend, and will the defense step up? The Heels racked up an impressive 254 yards and 6 TDs rushing against ODU last weekend, but defense was non-existent against Louisville and shaky at best against Cal. UNC's defense is looking at a still growing list of injuries. Jalen Dalton left ODU wearing a boot, and Andre Smith is still out indefinitely following his knee injury against Louisville. And while football team takes Duke this Saturday, men's soccer already took home a win against the Blue Devils last weekend and kept the ball rolling against George Washington on Tuesday night in Cary. The Heels wasted little time when David October used a trick for this treat to put the Heels up 1-0 about 20 minutes into the first half, giving the fans something to cheer for early on. Minutes later, Allen Wynn, fresh off receiving the National Player of the Week award, receives a clever pass from Zach Wright. and 5 holes the goalie to increase the Tar Heels' lead to 2-0. It was a great showing for Wright, who was credited with 2 more assists on the night, but won the show with his 2nd goal of the game and 6th of the season, leading the Heels to a 4-1 victory. Wynn credited his teammates for the National Player of the Week honor.
It's a great honor, to represent UNC in that reward, and I've confidence in my teammates, and I thank them the most for it. So they helped me a lot.
Wynn and the Heels take on Virginia Friday night in Charlottesville. The Carolina field hockey team put on a scoring clinic Tuesday night against Davidson. Have you ever seen 10 goals in 30 seconds? Well, we don't have enough time to fit them all here, but we have 5. Sophomore Catherine Hayden led the way for the Heels, netting her first of 3 goals on the night right here off an assist from Ava Vantahoog. Defender Ashley Hoffman wasn't far behind Hayden, as she found the back of the cage twice on the night, the first one here on the corner. And freshman Meredith Shoulder also recorded the first goal of her career off this beautiful strike that bounced off the goalkeeper's stick and into the back of the cage. And who doesn't love a hat trick? Watch Hayden beat the last defender and find the bottom left corner to close out the night. Carolina wins by double digits 10-0. Heels are now 7-2.
Thank you so much. You've heard of Downward Dog.
But how about Downward Goat? The story is up next.
I'm Anne. I'm a scientist.
Recycling takes a team.
Why don't you let me and me help you out?
Everyone plays a part. Don't trash
I love taking stuff apart and building new things out of it.
what could be treasure.
Pal's my most advanced android. This is awesome. You haven't seen anything yet.
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
I rescued Toast from a shelter in 2011. I love Toast because she's a lazy diva. Toast does whatever she wants, obviously. She's sleeping right now. She's an epic snuggler. She's so comforting. She's so loving. Toast makes me laugh. When I walked into the shelter, I knew right then that she was special.
Last summer, my new dad took me on vacation. First, we went deep sea fishing.
I'm so proud of you, son.
Then, we went on Thunder Shark 3 times.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
It's an unusual fitness trend that's going viral. Goat yoga. You heard that right, goat yoga.
And as reporter Emily Padula shows us, it has found its home in North Carolina.
Nestled 10 miles from downtown Durham lies Huck's family farm. This farm has everything you'd expect: geese, ducks, and sheep. But there's one unique feature of this farm: goat yoga. It's just as the name suggests, yoga classes with goats.
Mommy!
18 to be exact. Each weekend, the farm holds hour-long sold-out classes so people can get their downward goat on. Goats prance around freely and even take a few nibbles, while guests of all ages find their zen. Goat protector Ragnar watches attentively and joins in for some cuddles. Farm owners Amanda Avery and Matthew Hucks say the goats bring joy.
My favorite part is the smiles and the laughter that people have. The feedback we get when somebody tells us, that they have someone who's been depressed for several years, came and played with our goats, and it's the first time they've seen them smile in 2 years like that. So that's the best part.
The goats will be hopping mat to mat until November. In Durham, I'm Emily Padula reporting.
Well, I would love to try it, but honestly, the goats would probably do the yoga better than me.
I don't ever do yoga all that much, but if there were goats around me, I think that'd incentivize me to go a little bit more.
2018, maybe we can get that going. New year, new yoga habits.
That does it for this edition of Carolina Week.
Thank you for watching, and good night.